Hello, everyone, and welcome to our presentation on the Fantasy Fair, the literary festival from April 19th through 29th, 2018. As always, special thanks to the Games and Simulations Network and Inevitable Betrayal. With me today is Kay, as well as Lear. And so I'll turn it over to Lear to talk us a little about what we're doing here today.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Hi, everyone. We're looking at Second Life's Relay for Life event called the Fantasy Fair, and in particular, of interest to educators is the the Lit Fest, better known as the Literacy Festival. The fair and the Lit Fest run April 19th through the 29th, and there's an event website here on your screen, fantasyfairsl.wordpress.com. And this year, we're doing something unusual. In the past, we raised money for cancer research here in the States. This year, we're building a cancer hope lodge in Kenya. And the reason is because they don't have one. They only have one hospital that's public that the entire country gets to go to. And of course, many of them give up because it's prohibitive to get there and to afford it. So we can help 1,000 people a year if we build this lodge. And so that's our quest for this year. Now, our goal is not to promote donations or any of that with this event. Next slide, Chris. Our real thought here is the fact that it stimulates people to write and to publish, because the fair publishes their daily sprints, the little writing exercises people do. Almost every day there's poetry events, there's short story events, there's region tours. There's a quest, a major quest that involves all 15 regions. And then there are themed quests within the regions. The main quest gives you over 100 prizes. It's almost embarrassing how much loot they give you. It looks like a dragon's hoard of treasure when you actually get to the last step. And the quests are amazing. They take you underground into catacombs. They take you through the hills. They have intriguing puzzles, and they use a richness that reminds you a little bit of pervasive gaming, right? And you'll notice there's something for everyone. So if you don't like some of the things that are going on, maybe you love the ballet, maybe you love the theater, or, any of the other events. Next slide, Chris. So here are some of the main posters. There must be like 3 dozen posters. And the first one's for the Queen's Quest, the House of Garland. And in Second Life, you'll see in a little bit, I'm wearing the outfit that comes with the deluxe version of that. So they even give you clothes for guys and for gals, so you can be in context, wearing beautiful mesh garments as you do the quest. You actually wear the object when you buy it, and it appears on your hand as a magical amulet standing there, and you touch it, and it gives you all the contents. So you don't have to worry about resin content or dragging things to the ground, that kind of thing. The role-play adventures, in case you love gaming or you love lit RPG, as Kay does. I'll let her talk about lit RPG in a little bit, but there are quite a few groups that are doing role-play adventures, whether it's steampunk, whether it's Victorian, whether it's fantasy, high fantasy, whatever. Even murder mysteries and things like that. And, of course, sci-fi. The sci-fi version of this entire fair is coming up next month. And then Literary Festival. Every day there's somewhere between 3 and 7 events devoted to literature and to encouraging people to write and to create. You take these tours, you get stimulated with ideas, you listen to the stories, and then you sit and write. Next slide, please. So here's an example from the Queen's Quest. You get this little fellow, and he winds up being, the last few years, he's been a shoulder pet who travels with you, and his name is Cheer this year. And he says, hear ye, wanted, a proper hero. Accompany prominent knight on prestigious mission. No previous experience necessary. Must be able to think and walk. So those are the requirements for doing the quest. The quest is amazing. When you wear this object, it creates what we call a unique experience. So it takes over your display. It presents information on the bottom of it. It keeps track of your journal, what you've discovered, where you've been, and then it tracks all your accomplishments, prizes, everything for you.
That is nice.
Hey, now we're in World, and it's Kay. I'll turn it over to Kay. And that's me, by the way. oops, I better get out of the stage. They're probably saying, hey, clear, we're ready to perform, right? Here, let me move.
Well, tell us what shots we should be concentrating on.
Well, right now they're doing a spoof. It's a National Lampoon spoof or parody of Dune by Frank Herbert, and this one's called Arrakis, Desert Planet instead of desert. And the production, they do it live storytelling, and this is Shawnee Library. Every day they have between 3 and 7 stories that they do, and
beautiful.
Maybe it's not every day. It's maybe like 5 or 6 days a week. They even have tea time in Baker Street. So if you love the Sherlock Holmes stories, oh yeah. And they dress in character. They'll have 3 to 5 cast members doing all the different voices. And it's like watching a play unfold. Right now we're in the Halls of Story, and this is where we meet outside by the map to get the note card and landmarks for the region tour for LitFest every day. So every day at 5 p.m. Pacific time, that's called Second Life time, we go on a tour and we explore these areas. But right now, Shawnee Library is doing live storytelling in voice. And of course, because we don't own all of the copyright for the materials they're doing, we're not allowed to film all of the events. So we're only showing a little excerpt and without the sound, just so everyone at ISTE understands. But this is an amazing experience. You want to invite your students because even after Fantasy Fair is over, that'll continue. And it's at one of the LEA, the Linden Endowment of the Arts regions that are devoted to education and reading and writing. So there we are. It's okay. What do you, by the way, turn around for just a moment and take a look at me, and I'll demo the outfit. Now, I have put a t-shirt underneath it because I didn't want to show bare shoulders, right? There we go.
Okay, I'm
educator modest, right? Yeah.
Let me, I got rid of the, I got rid of the chat, so we just see you and your wings.
All right. So that's in here. I'll turn for just a moment. It's a mesh skirt. So when I sit, it doesn't go through the chair. And the wings are mine. I'll take the wings off. I like them because they move well. Thank you. They're really old, though. They're like 11 years old. Or when the first day Flexi came out. So that might have been 2007. But yeah, so this is the outfit. It's mesh, and it comes in like I want to say 7 sizes. Because you actually have to wear the size that fits you when you're wearing mesh. But and it hides part of my body, and it's a lot of fun. For the guys, it's a wonderful doublet and the whole coat and boots and everything, I think. I haven't worn the guy version. Anyway, all of this comes with the quest. They also have so the quest is $1 to participate if people are interested. That's like 250 lindens.
Yeah.
It's $3.50 if you want the clothes and all the extra add-ons. I like them. I collect them every year.
Oh,
right?
They're beautiful.
Yeah, and I don't have to worry about how to put things on. I just wear 3 or 4 things, and boom, this is what I look like, right? But yeah, and so right now we're in the Halls of Story, and doesn't this remind you of something from Harry Potter, kind of?
Oh,
like a library? Or...
It absolutely does.
And there's all kinds of mysteries. So when you're playing the quest, you get all kinds of information about everywhere you're exploring that you don't normally have when you're just looking at it. You can get information from region quests that exist that you don't have to buy anything to participate in. You just click around and look, and you'll discover things. But and by the way, most of the regions have hidden areas underground and behind other areas. And then, well, it's just a fantastic feast for an educator to have this kind of space to learn in. So, Kay, what would you like to do while we're here at the Fantasy Fair?
Well, I'm just looking around right now. This definitely reminds me of any of the mage towers, and also anything on the Blood Elf side that wasn't destroyed.
That's right.
And
Absolutely.
I am just enjoying looking at all these books, and I'm doing a couple shots like from a distance, and just kind of going all around. Let me get back into the into the room.
For those familiar with virtual worlds, hundreds of designers designed this content,
Okay.
and the best designers in the world have worked on the entire region themes and then the hidden moments and special experiences that
Mm-hmm.
exist within them. So that's what makes it really special. In
No,
the
this is.
past, oh, yes, please
I
go
was just
ahead.
going to say, this is definitely looking very Blood Elf to me.
Yeah, it is.
The
It does have
chairs,
elements of that. Yep.
yeah.
In the past, we've raised over $3 million US for cancer research. So the Relay for Life of Second Life is a 4-month series of events that are
Mm-hmm.
parties, fashion shows, educational things. I used to run classes where I would show people how to make things, and then donations were welcome. So there's never a fee for participating in these things. So anyone can come for free. And
Mm-hmm.
my students love to come, right? Because and for quite a few of us, we'll schedule either field trips or we'll give them a quest to look for certain content and then see what they bring back.
Okay, did you
Now,
have any more slides that you wanted to
I
show?
do.
Okay,
I have a
cool.
ton of slides because you never know in a virtual world if the region will go down or something will happen, and especially when you
Mhm.
have thousands of people visiting these places. See, our viewers only show us somewhere between 9 and 30 people, but that's not the number that are on the region with us. Yeah, yesterday I was on a region with 70 to 100 people, and then of course they have exceeded some of the limits. Usually you don't want more than 100 on a region with this much content, especially. But here lately, we found ways to optimize to get more folks to scale the number that can be on a region. One of the techniques, by the way, is you'll notice quite a few of the content other than this banister. This banister is physical, but most of the content, they make it phantom so that the simulator is not calculating collisions. And all that means is it's optimized so it works well and you don't have as much lag. That's what it means.
And we
But,
have Tanya right here.
Hey, Tanya. Hi. Hey, aren't you looking good? And with your pink hair.
The
zooming
Minecraft
in.
t-shirt.
I love the Minecraft t-shirt.
Perfect.
Here, I'll type to her. Hi, Tanya.
And yes, Carwin did remind us as we were leaving to come back at 7 o'clock Pacific time for, and that the show will be starting at that time.
See, I thought the show wasn't starting yet, but I get a little confused sometimes. That's what happens when you live in like 5 different time zones, you know?
No, we have time. We have
Good. Good.
at least 42 minutes.
Oh, good. Well, they're all buds, and they've been doing this for many years. I want to say since 2008, maybe 2006. So it's a strong community that puts this together.
Now this is really beautiful. I'm just getting some outside shots.
Sure.
Of the book and the building.
Mm-hmm.
And us just
now,
hanging out here.
They have set the wind light to give you a certain mood, but I have to admit, I always change my environment editor because my world is always sunset and rosy, or it looks like Bangkok. For visibility, you know how it is for accessibility. Sometimes I need more contrast, or I need rosier looks, or whatever it is, right? And so if you want me to show folks what it looks like from my perspective, I can do that. Sure. Here, let me
okay, I'm very purple. Now we'll switch over to your screen.
Okay. I'm closing a few chat things because people are whispering.
Okay.
There we go. Now, let's see. I'll click my share, and I will share the second monitor. And
okay. Oh, yes. I'm very purple.
That's Oriental Delight. So for people who like, and you notice it brightens everything. So now if I have to look at signs, I can read them. Now I'm not rendering everything around me at a high resolution, but I have a pretty good look, a fairly accurate view of what we're doing here. And of course, that's our LitFest poster. And the way they've made up the posters is just absolutely gorgeous. But so that's Oriental Delight. Let me show you Bangkok. And it's going to get a little darker. But you just go under the world menu. And then, of course,
Oh,
I'll do
lots of
Bangkok
options.
too. Bangkok too is
Now,
dark, but let me flip the camera around, and you're
Mhm.
going to see how dramatic the contrasts are, and the absolutely glorious textures and the
oh
water.
yeah.
See,
Mhm.
so and then Oriental Light 2 really brightens things up. So if you had little elements hiding for your students, you know, within
Mhm.
your game setting or whatever, this is the way to make them pop, is by setting the default region environment editor so they see this a certain way. And there's like early, they call this sunset, but to me this looks almost like sunrise, but maybe it
Yeah.
is sunset from a certain perspective. But when I turn around, you're going to see the highlights more, right?
Oh, that's beautiful. I was
Yeah,
wondering how you got those gorgeous screenshots that
that's
did
how I
not look
do
like
it.
mine.
You just go under World and Editor, Environment Editor, and then you just
Mhm.
say Customize my environment. So if you, when we visit these many regions, when you first teleport in, it'll say the region would like to reset your environment settings, wind light settings, and you give permission for it
Mhm.
to see it the way they have set it. But I like to evoke a mood, especially if it's nighttime and they're not showing us what I think I should be seeing, that kind of drama. Yeah. So and then of course you have to say okay. And by the way, you can reset the water too. So these are
Oh.
things you set client side so that you can see the world your way, and especially if you're taking photos, right?
Mhm.
Now you'll notice right now, my apologies. Earlier I saw you, but right now I'm not. So this is a phenomena,
Yeah.
just so everyone knows. If I turn up, yep, if I turn up my preferences, graphics, and I say, okay, I want to see, right now I'm only rendering to 155K. So if I go all the way up, she should pop into view here. Yep, and there we go.
Yeah.
See? So it's
You're
just a
adjusting
higher
back down
rendering
to me.
cost. Well, right now I'm at 12,000 and you're higher than 155,000. That's all it means. And that's these wonderful textures and you know, effects that you have here. See all that? The only reason I turned it down is when I go on a region that has like 100 people, I like to know that they're there, but sometimes I don't want to crash, right?
Yeah.
Especially when I'm running a class. So from the educator perspective, that's the only reason I'll downscale some of my preferences. But look, this is an amazing
It is.
experience, and you can always turn your settings up. I love that level of control. Well, did you want to tour another area, or
It
did you
is
want to
in
go back to the slides?
it is entirely up to you. I know he's not going to be starting for a while, so we would have time to go tour someplace else.
Yes, we do. And if you click on the map when you're visiting here, we can see how many people are here. I'm going to scroll back for a moment and see all that, the regions that are all connected. There are 12 of them, and then there's actually 15 regions. So there's a couple of extra regions. And you can see by the number of dots. And
Oh,
often people will say, well, Second Life must be dead, right? It's really not. There's a lot
yeah.
going on, and you can
At least
see
in
the
what I'm
ones that are
seeing
more
there, yes.
right. We have images of Willows of Nenya. Earlier, they did a tour to the Arcanium, this one here. It looks like it's a
Mhm.
watery region. See how it's laid out? So that's
Yeah.
probably where they're holding the Mare Ballet, the mermaid productions and mermen, you know. The Story Well is a fanciful children's kind of spot, and it has hidden caves underneath. Sonoria down here in the lower left is a desert. So if we're going to talk about
Oh.
Arrakis or Arrakis, right, the
Mhm.
desert planet. And then, of course, we have we have other story places as well. I haven't been to all of them. Um, looks like Astrid's Nematron is under capacity right now, so it only has 23 people. So any of these regions you'd like to visit, just let me know which one, and I'll
I
head there.
whichever one you want, just go there and just send
Okay,
us a teleport and send me the teleport, and then I'll get
all
Chris
right.
and Grid along with us.
Okay. And do you want to show some slides while I'm teleporting, or you want to see this? I'll just double
Oh
click.
no, let's get the
I'll do a
teleport.
random pick. How's that?
That's
And
fine.
of course, I'm landing, and then it has to render this content,
Mhm.
right? And of course, I spent 10 hours creating educational videos today, so it may take me just a moment, but you can see we have some amazing grasses here coming
Oh,
into
yeah.
perspective. It's really fast. And then, right now, I have my default settings still customized, right? So
Mhm.
I have to click Use Region Settings to see it their way, the way the
Mhm.
designer intended.
Oh.
And I do look at that way. By the way, there's floating candles. You see that?
Mhm. Beautiful.
There's candles everywhere, and there's probably things that are going to follow us around and
Yep.
stuff that's going to happen. And so you want me to send you a
Yeah.
teleport.
Send me a teleport,
Let's
and then
see.
I'll send it to Chris and Grid.
Okay, so I will click on, see, I'm on your name. I will say send offer teleport. There we go. And by the way, I'm using the Firestorm viewer. Phoenix, the old school, right? This is so 2005 of me. So, but here's the advantage. When she pops in, I can click the people tab, double click her name to put my camera automatically on her. I'll get out of the way for a moment, right? Because I'm in her way. Let me
Oh, it's
pop
okay.
somewhere. There we go. Okay. I moved out of her way. Whoops. And of course, I accidentally teleported on something. So let's cancel that. See if it'll let me. Yeah, there we go. But anyway, when I double click her name, this allows me to find her. So if she was anywhere on the region, I could tell how many meters she is away from my body. I could double click her name. I can double click other folks, and then I can double click teleport to her location by clicking the ground at her feet. And so that's a very powerful, see, it's like super prof. Dum, da, dum. And that's one of the reasons that we like to come into these places is that we have more control. We can find our students and we can join them quickly without moving, right? But here we are, we have some signage, and then we have this amazing set. Now, a moment for our viewers. Let's say someone had content on that we weren't comfortable with, or there was a sign that we didn't like. I like all of these, but I'm going to pretend I don't, okay? I love Xanadu, right? Olivia Newton-John, how could you go wrong, right? And roller skating, I used to roller skate. But I'm going to do the more, de-render, and temporary, right? And boom, that sign is gone. You will not see it until I teleport back in. So temporary allows me to make things disappear or to set up my custom photos in case I get guests who are wandering in front of my camera.
Yeah.
So I'm one of these terrible people who will go, de-render. But it allows you to customize your view so that when you're teaching, you have just the right content, for focusing your students' attention on your craft. Anyway, that's my tip of the day. There we go. So let's see. I should pay attention to see what Tanya's saying here. And of course, we have a local chat.
Yeah, she's saying she has audio issues.
Oh, okay. No worries. And here, on all the main regions, when you first teleport into them, there's no talking by voice. They discovered that Vivox, that was causing a bit of chat lag, right? And of course, it was messing with the experience for people. But when you get inside the buildings, like the halls of story, the voice is turned on in certain areas where they hold venues. So of course, we're using voice for them, right? But here we are.
We're following you around.
Oh, okay. Well, if I was doing the quest, I guess I could bring up my quest objects, right? Let me see here. It's always dangerous when you open your inventory because you never know who has sent you what, right? But what I do, because you'll have all kinds of fun special moments. But I have created in my note cards folder a folder for this event, and I have put in, like, you can see which clothing I'm wearing. There's a ton of guy and gal things. And then there's the quest items, right? Yeah. And I'm going to pretend I just got the quest thing. Let's see. They give you a holding animation. So you can actually reuse that for other things. There's a HUD. I'm going to wear the HUD. Okay. And I would normally move it to one side. The HUD will show me videos, will serve as a journaling log. It has a terms of service because of the European Union's new rules on privacy, right? And forgetting people. Well, this HUD's going to track you and it's going to record your progress in the game. So now gamers have to think about, how do we comply with that rule? and then ask people to give permission to be tracked. You see how this works?
Yeah.
So that's
That
one of
is
our new rules. Yeah, to be compliant. And I know some of you are going, but I'm not in Europe. Yes, but we're actually in a place where people from all over are. And see, I just moved mine to one side, by the way. That's a little too large for me, you know. but anyway, and I'll probably have to move it back because they're really smart. When I click the thing and it continues into it, it's going to take over the bottom part of my screen, like the bottom 2 inches, and then display a lot of stuff. So I'm going to want to keep that in. Tip number 2, if you ever have a HUD that misbehaves on you, right click and edit it, pull back with your scroll wheel and see how your whole display area goes into the center.
Yeah.
So if I accidentally slide some of my HUDs over to the side so they're not in my view, I can always edit the edge of them and then slide them right back into view. That white box you see on my screen is only the view part of the display. So this is how, so like I have an animation override over here, I could slide it off. So it's still on, but it's inactive. That's what the red button means. And so this is how you find content when you slide it off your view. I'm going to restore it so you can see what I mean. On the lower left, you no longer see my animation override HUD, which was a custom my honey made for me. So, and then so we have family things we wear, and that makes it all the nicer when you make your own stuff and use it. But here we are. So, and you'll notice this object at the bottom of it. I'll raise it up a little and try to get some contrast. I'll put it on my body. There we go. I use everything.
Just
you'll notice
it over here.
sponsors, teleport, history, setup, and help. So it has all these. And of course, I just accidentally, let me get out of edit mode. You can click the help and it'll start giving you note cards or help. It'll talk about setup. It'll help walk you through all the pieces so you never have to feel like it's mysterious and strange, right? Because remember, our requirements is just to be a proper hero and willing to have an adventure. How do you get all this stuff? Well, every landing point, you have an object. And let's see, let me say quest. Of course, saying the word quest in mine is like saying the word water or the, right? So maybe that's not the best. Even bards is not going to help. Let me finding things when you have 157 items, right? Which is why I put this open thing in the note cards. Yeah, go right ahead there, Kay.
Oh, I was going to say, if I was going to pick up the quest, where here would I pick it up?
Let's see. At every landing point, remember where all those signs were? There's supposed to be one, and it's actually 2 signs. So let me take off. I'm going to detach my HUD for a moment, right? It's these 2 signs right here. So I'm going to zoom in on it, and you see where I am.
I am coming over towards you.
I will double-click teleport over there because I said I could do it. There I am. See? No walking. Lazy woman's method. And so here's the one with the clothes. So you can see what the guy or the gal looks like when she wears the clothes, right? Yeah, they're very nice. My t-shirt I made myself, and I textured using a texture I made in Photoshop, by the way. So to try to match the skirt because I was lazy, right? And then, and the reason I did that is because for Safe for School, we usually cover our shoulders, but let's face it, it's a beautiful dress. And then the House of Garland's the name of the quest, so that's what I should have searched for. Last year, it was called the Bard Queen's Quest. And it's a Fairlands quest, and when you click on it, you'll notice it instantly wants to sell you something. And so the base quest is $250. The other one doesn't instantly. That's because I already own it. But it's the other one is $350 for the clothes as well. So, yep. And then when you get the item, Kay, if you're going to wear it, it's really cool. Just wear it or add it. Use add. Right click and add it. And you'll see what happens. I'm going to put my camera on you to show everyone.
Oh, are you sure you want to do this?
Yes, I do. And if you don't have money, I'll give you some money. You need some money?
I have it and I bought it. So
okay, go ahead and wear it.
You want me to put the deluxe on, right?
You're going to, yes, you're going to say add.
Okay, I'm adding.
And the reason you're going to add is so you doesn't take off your clothes, your hair, or whatever. See what happens to her? She has this cool thing in her hand, right? Now you're going to click it. Just left click it. Yeah, there's
Do
no
I have
resin.
to? I really like it. Can I walk around?
Well, you
like
get to keep it. You get to keep it. You can keep clicking it. I've clicked mine several times.
Oh, okay,
I just
okay.
didn't
Just want
remember
to
the
make
name
sure.
of
Okay,
it.
clicking
And
it, and
went to,
then what am
yep,
I hitting?
yep. You'll see. You just left click it. And if you left click
Okay,
it, it'll
there it
sparkle.
is.
You notice it says it's unpacking. It's a smart object. And and it fills your inventory, your folder, probably under all your system folders
Mhm,
with the name of the object. And it's telling you that in the chat log. Now, when I
mhm,
create things like this, mine doesn't, it only does owner say. So you only see it if you're the owner of the object.
mhm.
So in your chat, local chat, you should see the name of your thing. And so
Yeah.
you have that now. You also have this animation for holding an object on your hand like this, which you could reuse in future games.
And I was going to say to Chris and Tanya, you should come over and get it. And if you don't have enough lindens, I'll give you lindens.
Yeah, I was going to say I have lindens, and you don't ever have to feel like you have to have money to participate in these
Yeah,
things. You always have friends, right? But
yeah. I have
and for those of
lindens.
you, yeah, those
And,
of you who've never been in world, 250 lindens is a US dollar, okay? So we're not talking a fortune here, but it is wonderful because they'll get thousands of people who will play this, which helps to, of course,
mhm,
they've raised $20,000 so far. So US, maybe
yeah.
a little bit more. That was
And,
as of this morning, but yeah.
and I don't want to give up my magical thing either.
Well, you don't. You don't. When you detach it, when you right click and detach it, it'll still be in your inventory and you can wear it again. Always use add these days though, because here's a tip for those of you wearing the deluxe and the clothing.
Mhm.
When you add this stuff, you almost all of it's being added to your right hand. So if you only used wear, it would keep replacing it. So you either get a
Yeah.
top or a skirt, you know, and you're like, well, that's boring, right? I'd like to have all of my clothing. So some designers, they design it very quickly and all of this mesh is being added to one attachment point. So always use add. Think to yourself, add is my friend. And for those of you who are going, what is this woman babbling about? It's just a right click and add.
So Chris,
So you
go
just,
ahead and add yours.
yeah. And I'll show how you just right click and you say add. See there, I'm showing on my screen. And that's true for any viewer you're in, whether it's the Second Life viewer or another, right? And I'll open up the inventory that shows you what he's looking at. And then I'm going to turn. Let me know when it's safe to view the Chris.
Okay, it is safe to view him, and
Okay.
he
All right.
has it in his hand.
Okay, good. I'm going to pull up the list, and his name is Abacus. So I'm going to sort by alpha. He's 25 meters from my body. I double clicked his name, right? So I
Yeah.
don't have to know where he is or who he is. Just have to know a name. And there he is looking so cool. Let's zoom in closer. I have disabled camera constraints, so we could go inside and see if Abacus has a brain, right? But no, we won't. We won't go there. By the way, in 2006, that's what I did. I went around looking for brains. But he's clicked it, and you just saw the text pop up and disappear. There's Tanya with hers.
Tanya has
Let me
one
get on
too.
Tanya.
Now
She
we're gonna have to
does.
chase
She's looking
Tanya with
so
the camera.
cool.
Okay, there she
Yep,
is.
I
Oh,
am.
okay.
I'm chasing her. We have
I'm
mad
trying to
camera
get both of them.
controls, by the way. I'm holding
It's
down Control and Alt and spinning my camera to keep on her, just in case you're wondering, because she keeps moving.
yeah. Come on, it's like the French
I'm
president
locked.
and the first lady. Let's
I'm
catch them.
locked. I got them, both of them, and they look so good, don't they?
Yes.
Anyway, and the two Fs are back to back, but that means Fantasy Fair for those of you who are wondering. And this is the 10th year of the Fantasy Fair. Yep. So by the way, you know how to cause that twinkle at the top of that texture? You do it in GIMP or Photoshop. GIMP if you're kicking it free, right? And you just take that image, copy it maybe 16 times, 16 total, and then you vary a pixel how it goes from square to square, and then you save it as one image and put it on there, and it'll give you the effect of snow falling inside your picture, so it's not scripted. That's how you do it with just a texture.
Nice.
Or a very light script where it just keeps replaying it. But yeah, it's a very nice effect. But there you are. And the only reason her hand is bobbing is because they have put in a little loop and they have her hand going up and down just a little bit. That's how the animation goes. But isn't that cool?
Yeah, it looks
Looking,
really good.
looking
And it's a really good
good.
picture of the two of them.
That's right. It is. It is. So yeah, we should photo op. There we go. I guess I could bring up, I don't want to bring up Snagit right now while we have so much going on. So I'm just going to bring up the old snipping tool. We'll kick it free, right? And so,
and we have a question. Grid is
good.
asking if it is mesh.
It is mesh. The outfit is mesh. The object, it's hard to tell. By the way, if you're trying to peep someone else's stuff, you know, you can right click it, but you can't really, concert stuff's coming in. You can right click it, but you can't really edit it. So, but we could do more, inspect and see who the designer is. The owner's name's Tanya Smedley. Thank you. For our model. Rin Verwood created it. And then, of course, we can see some of the stuff about it. And you can see Mesh Fantasy Fair. Okay. So you can see a little bit of info about it and the dates they created it. So for those of us who are interested in digital rights, we can get a lot of cool information when people wear stuff. In fact, if we said, hey, I like Abacus's backpack here, right?
Yeah.
Look at that. We could do the same thing. We'd say, inspect.
I'm pretty sure it was a Grendel thing, but yeah, Flea Bussy sounds like one of the Grendel people.
Sure. And each piece of it, texture and everything, we can go down to the nut, the washer, and then go inside and look at the textures too. But we won't go there. Okay. But designers like me love to know this stuff.
Oh yeah.
So
and they're posed there so well.
Aren't they? That looks really cool. Well, this is only one region. So far we've looked at 2 regions in the Fantasy Fair. We have a few minutes left. Did you want to see another spot or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we pull up our map. I'm pulling up mine and let's see. So right now we're standing on, by the way, for those who are curious, it's called Astrid's Nematon. Okay. Nice. And I've been to the Willows of Nenya. That's beautiful. And we do have images for it. That was our starting image. Let's see. Etheria was having a few problems. That's by a designer who often does Egyptian builds. I don't know what it is this year. Maybe we should go check it out. It looks like it's working now. So I'm going to double click right here, if you see, and I'll send teleports.
That would be great.
Great.
Especially if it's Egyptian. I don't have my Egyptian outfit on now, but I can come back with it on.
It may not be Egyptian this year, because last year he also had a build that was absolutely gorgeous, but very formal, almost like something from France, from Versailles. So let's see. Now that I said that, right? So let me teleport Abacus, and for a moment, I still see the old people list, so I can grab people. I better grab Tanya real quick. I got to make sure Tanya and I are friends, right? It looks like we're friends because she's in bold. And then, of course, Kay Zanovka is going, I'm waiting patiently.
No, I'm cool. I just love my little quest thing that I can hold in my hand at all times and it never gets sore.
That's right. That's right. And you'll notice, they have tinies here with bearing gifts. There's lots of free things. Did you guys get the Minky yet? They have free pets.
We'll have to go back and get that. Because this is not a one-time thing. We're coming back.
Yeah. So look for the Minky. That's a free guy.
What is it, like a meerkat or something?
I'm not sure. I think it's not possible in real life, it's its nickname.
I'm just asking. I was just doing
I'm not sure.
If I were to base it off of something, what would I base it on?
Meerkat's working for me. But I think you're thinking of Cheer, the little shoulder guy who, right now we're supposed to have Cheer with us. And in previous years, I don't know, go win him as one of the first steps of the quest. And then he pops onto your shoulder. And so often you have to talk to NPCs and they give you clues. And then you get your little shoulder companion and then he guides you. So he will answer questions when you ask him or help you with interactive help, right? So that's a cool feature. But I haven't started the quest yet. Here he is. See the Cheer shoulder companion? I'm going to wear him and see. Now, wear is always dangerous. So if I start losing clothing, we'll all just laugh,
Not
right?
a problem. I'm scrolling around.
Yeah, me
Somebody's
too. Let me
asking us
see
for
where he
lunches.
appeared. Are they?
Yes.
I will send them a grins because, whatever question anyone ever asks you, and by the way, he may not appear until I have unlocked him in the
Mhm.
quest, just so you know. So while I am wearing him, who knows where he is? If you're ever wondering if you're wearing invisible stuff, Control Alt and T, and haha, I am wearing him. See, he's right here on my shoulder. But they've made him invisible until I unlock him. Okay. But we are going to peep because this is a
Ooh.
demo. See, so that's what he looks like. He's on my shoulder, and I'll be able to touch him or talk to him or unlock things, but we can't see him yet until I do. So that's, and of course, I'm not sure whether you have to wear him or if their scripted experience is going to pop him onto your shoulder if you're giving permission for their gear to appear on you. So that's just how cool this quest is. Okay. But there he is. Now I did that with Control Alt T for transparency.
Do you see Tanya at the moment?
Yep. Let me look. Is she wearing one or? Oh,
Wow,
look at this!
you tell me.
Wow, she is looking really cool. Look at her. She decided to wear the minky, huh?
Yeah,
Or is that
I'm like,
something else?
she
Let's
is
see.
one. Oh
Well,
my
there was an
god.
avatar version you could buy. Let's see.
Oh,
And there's also a free. Let's see what she's wearing.
it
Now,
is
of course,
so
someone
cute.
very clever. I'm having trouble peeping. So you know what that means? There's something invisible around her, and I have to reach through it. See? So I'll turn on my trans. Yep. Because we are just determined to figure out what she's wearing, right? There's no longer guessing. Oh, she's wearing the minky. Yep. And that's the
No.
free avatar they give you. Okay.
That is so cute.
So always create an outfit of your clothing before you do that, unless you're cool being the minky, right? And I love it. Her minky has pink hair. Most
I know.
minkies.
And look, it's the sneakers that she had on too.
Oh,
It's great.
the shoes are precious, right?
Oh my gosh, it's so great. Oh
Yes,
my
it is.
god, she has the tinies that were here when we got here. She has them beat. Okay.
Oh, how wonderful. Yep. So there's the minky. There's also Cheer and then a bunch of other characters too. But how cute, right? And there's another shot of Tanya. And let's see, who is this? There's Cian. So if Cian, you're with us. And then, of course, Abacus over there looking very distinguished. But Minky has her Fantasy Fair amulet. And by the way, in the past, you had to wear an amulet and you'd click it periodically and it would load YouTube videos for you.
Oh, that's
so
great.
so you get these interactive, very dramatic, almost like those Ingress videos, for setting the scene for what happens next, that kind of thing. Really, they spend a year making this stuff, right? So they're already getting started on next year. Yeah.
The seating over here is just beautiful, even.
Yes, it is. I'm going to follow you around, see what you're...
Oh, I'm sitting. I'm going to sit down.
Oh, yes.
I'm like,
Here, I'll sit too.
I like this.
So we just... And you'll notice I always peek to see what I'm going to sit on. I'm going to sit on this blank box is what it is, really. It just looks like a pillow, right? So we've peeked it. We've looked... I'll just say sit here.
I'm like, this totally... This is a very good place to pose.
That's a different parcel. I actually have to come over.
Oh.
Can't just, well, that's a nice look, isn't it? Hey, it looks like I'm napping out.
And the minky just went past us.
There we go.
It's like Grids, Pinky Minky just came out.
You know what happened? Whoever set this up, it's going through the cycle. So I clicked on the minky, the minky pillow, and all you have to do is stand and do it again there, Tanya. And so all it did was it tried to put us all at the same attachment point at the same time. That's all.
Okay, because Grid looks buried underneath it.
Well, it's possible that when they did her avatar, they didn't rotate it upright. That's why you normally need custom poses for tinies, right? So that the avatar parts all stay the direction you expect them to be, right? Yep. Yep. But here I am sitting here. Yep. And we're waiting for. It looks like. And by the way, some of these things here will be pieces of the puzzle to one of the quest items.
Oh,
So
nice.
when you get it started, it'll give you a little riddle or a little phrase, a clue. And then as you go thumping around, these things may become interactive objects. In other areas, you'll be walking through a building or an underground catacomb, and some of the walls, it'll be like you have to use your elven or orcish abilities, because some of the walls you can walk through when you're wearing the quest HUD. Okay,
Oh.
so they become phantom but only when you're wearing the HUD. Okay, the bazaar. The dungeon bazaar underground, it has a story object that even when you're not part of the quest, you click on it, you give permission, and then it takes over your viewer and presents information, and it makes some of the walls disappear and new content appear. Very cool. It's very similar to Cyrus Hush's the Bushido quest that he ran before his death. And of course, he was a beloved member of our ISTE and VISTE communities here in Second Life. He still lives on, uh, in these experiences. Hey, we just had Big Bird pop in. Did you see?
Yeah.
And I do mean big,
I know. It's over there. It's Night Star.
We had a dragon sitting above the game on Saturday night when we were all playing tabletop. We were playing Havoc Brigade, which is a one-session game, which is hilarious. The goal is not to do well, okay? And of course, you have all kinds of crazy things you could do, like a cunning deal, or that's dead good. You have all kinds of ways of changing how reality happens, and it's so much fun. I highly recommend it. By the way, some of our slides talk about, they give you links. So if anyone wants links to the game events, visit the main website and you can get all the information from the schedule. Click on calendar and agenda, and you'll see dozens of events for every day. Some are not listed on the schedule. They'll announce them in the group chat. So you'll see. That's why I have so many. I have 994 messages, and I was in World this morning up until 1 a.m. So that's how many messages have come through since then.
And Chris is
I
showing
them
us.
all.
He's still off mic, but he's showing us. He basically panned out with his camera, and it is underneath of it is if you go underground, it's a mirror image of what's above ground.
Oh, good. So that tells us. So I'm going to sink below ground, so you guys know, and so you can see we have an upside downside world, right?
Yeah.
So this is what you find when you, So we have a copy, and then of course there's going to be inside these buildings. There are probably interesting mysteries or things to do or whatever, depending on their size. So that's a good point, is that what you see above ground is not the end of the story, in case you're wondering.
It sounds like the magicians. Oh, well, they built the one world right on top of the other world.
You will notice that we're also floating, right?
Yes.
Or at least that's the way it looks. And then, of course, we can go inside and try to peek. They've made it so that some of the areas, it's hard for even those of us with great camera controls to peek, right?
Yeah.
But
this is
and of course,
really
I'm
nice.
only rendering to a certain distance. Isn't that gorgeous? But this is by the designer who does the site called Fallen Gods and all the custom avatars. Like Grendel's Children, only he does it through skins and through all the things you wear at the base level. Okay, so it's almost 7 o'clock Pacific time. You want to finish up the slides and then get to the announcement for Sunday? Yeah, why don't we finish them up so we can go back? Okay, let me stop. I'll just pass the control back over to Chris. Yep.
We'll let him get those up.
There you go.
There we go.
All right. So that's what's happening in the next hour. For those of you who love parodies, it's called Dune, D-O-O-N, by the National Lampoon. It's a parody of the book Frank Herbert's Dune. And instead of Arrakis, it's Arrakis. Men call it Dune, the desert planet. And it's about the giant pretzel instead of sandworms. And it's hilarious. It's back in the halls of story, beginning in just a few minutes. There's some more posters. Tomorrow is George R.R. Martin Day for those of you who love Game of Thrones. That's right. And there's all kinds of events, but some of the early events include some of his co-authors on an anthology and about the characters and other. Yep. So we have all kinds of authors speaking during this event as well.
Nice.
Live at the Fairchild, lots of parties and events and performances and music and you name it. Then there are plays like A Midsummer Night's Dream, Much Ado About Nothing, and more. Next. We're whipping through fast, I think.
Yeah.
That's just more on the events. You can find this on the website.
Okay.
That's under LitFest and George R.R. Martin. Keep clicking.
Now, did George R.R. Martin already happen, or it will be happening?
That's tomorrow. That's April 25th. So, and all day, there's all kinds of events. And at the end of the day, they'll be reading other stories by him. Then these are more events. There's masked balls. Keep going. Next slide. Arts and entertainment, boy, and everything from artwork to you name it. And then Swan Lake, for those of you who always wanted to be a ballerina, right? There's all kinds of ballets during the Fantasy Fair. Keep going. Cats, the Andrew Lloyd Webber production with the song Memories, right? Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the Night Theater. Keep going. Fantasy Follies and Freedom Flutter, in case you love butterflies and all kinds of fanciful productions.
Nice.
Keep going. That's a ballet. That was a ballet. Here's some mer ballets in case you ever wanted to be a mermaid. You can dress up for it and then be part of that experience. Moonbeam Dancers is happening right now too. 15 regions. Here's the names of them. But if you click on map, you can see all of them at a glance when you pull back. Keep going. Look at how beautiful this is. This is Ardessa. We didn't go there. That's what that looks like. That looks like something out of a Tolkien fantasy, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Next. This is the Willows of Nenya, where I started with the Lit Fest, and I wrote a story about it. We're all dancing there using a mer ballet in front of the Lady of Tears, which is a Tolkien character. And she represents hope for cancer relief. Next. This is Sanoria, and this is the desert planet, desert area. There's all kinds of mysteries there. This is just the landing point. Isn't it beautiful? And I didn't change the skylight for this one, I don't think. That's their environment editor. Next one. And I wrote a little story about these plants all coming to life and tasting us as we walk on the sands. Not in a bad way. It was only a 50-word story, so it was very quick because I only had like 10 minutes. Next. Games. This is for Kay and Chris. This is my character sheet. I was playing a character called Copper Wrench. And you notice I have a role called That's Dead Good. You can do that when someone does poorly. And you can say, no, I think that's dead good, what you just did. So you can, and then you can have mayhem, where you take an invention and you do something, they say destructive, but you can do fanciful, wonderful things with it. And you notice my skills were shooting stuff, knowing about machines, and going fast. My goal was to nick some awesome technology. So you can already tell it's whimsical, right?
Yes.
This is what the game table looks like for 250 linens, $1. You get all this stuff. The dice work. You can put your textures on the map. You have your GM's area, the Game Master's area on the left. Yes, the chairs come with it, everything, I think. It's an amazing table.
Where do I get that?
Well, that's actually from the Bazaar Dungeon, Bazaar. So, and that's And that's all by Loki, who's a game designer. So he designed the entire terrain and this. And I know you're thinking, why didn't I show you this? Well, that's because we have images and you can go there yourself.
Yeah, no, that's
But
okay.
click the next. Yeah. No, keep talking. But you notice here's the map and here's the
tell
pieces.
me where to shop, and I will shop.
You click one of those little colored pieces, and then you click somewhere on your map, and you can drop that texture yourself if you wish on it and position it. But
Nice.
and then you can move your characters around. Each person can control their own character. The big die towards the water there on the left is everyone rolls it, and it displays the number on the top. There we are. We all look normal, don't we? I'm standing there wearing the tunic from last year in the center background, and we've just finished a game of Havoc Brigade. One guy's sitting there dressed as an orc. He bought an outfit when he sat down to play the game. He says, well, I got to dress for the part, right?
Yeah.
Next. And here's a close-up from the GM side, the Game Master side. So, and it's kind of funny. Traditionally, you don't want to see them roll, so you don't know how well you did or how poorly you did. You just know how the story unfolds. Next. And that's just another view of us playing. And you can see the camera is behind the orc, so he's in the lower right there, that big kind of blobby thing, because let's face it, orcs don't fit in chairs real well, right? Not these chairs. And here's the link to the schedule in case you wanted to see all the different games that are being offered. There's a whole nother set of them this coming weekend, and they go from morning till late night, so something for everyone. Most of them are about an hour and a half, in case you're wondering, how long does it take? Oh, more areas. The Fairlands Junction's on the left. Look at how beautiful that is. And on the right, that's erstwhile. And all the shops are floating ships above the region. Next slide. Halls of Story, we were just in. And that's two different views of it, looking different directions. That's Bangkok on the right, the environment editor, and Oriental Delight on the left. Next. Oh, that's Bangkok too. And look how gorgeous erstwhile looks. And of course, more little characters. That's another avatar you can buy if you wish to be that little dragon. That's erstwhile with the camera pulled back to see the entire region. So that's how those ships look, the steampunky ships at the top. And it is gorgeous, isn't it? It reminds me of the backdrop of an old chord organ from a cathedral. And there's the minky that Tanya was just wearing over on the right. That's the sign. You actually do have a bottom,
But hers was cuter, okay? With the sneakers and the pink hair, it was better.
The sneakers and the pink hair made it. That's right. Well, remember the minky. There's the schedule and the site, but all you have to remember is fantasyfairsl.wordpress.com, and you can get to all this content. There are writing challenges for students and for all of us, and to stimulate your own creativity. Next. And of course, there's a radio station that's devoted to the Fantasy Fair and has a lot of other production. And then a closing party, but it's not the closing, the 29th. They're actually going to have events up until, I think, May 1st.
Oh, that's nice.
Yep. And now you can go on from Lit RPG into what's happening on Sunday for games and stimulations.
Oh, yeah. So anybody who's been paying attention to this, you could totally write your own Lit RPG. You could write your own Lit RPG based on this. And over the summer, it won't be us, but we will have some other ISTE members who will be doing learning transported, augmented, virtual, and mixed reality for all classes. And so for our parting thoughts, ta-da, almost done. And our upcoming events. Okay, we will have the Games and Ethics with Sherry Jones. Then, don't forget our ISTE conference in Chicago, where we will be doing Ready Player One at our playground and our game night. And that will pretty much be ending us here. Because we are not going to be able to, now I'll just pull up my screen, we're not going to be able to, let you, we're not going to be able to live stream this for you, but anyone who wants, we have the link out there for Halls of Story. just come in and go ahead and listen to the session and check the calendar to see what other great sessions, or maybe all you want to do is take your avatar out and pose it. Go ahead and do that. So we want to thank everybody for watching our live stream, and we'll be jumping in here a lot, probably over the weekend, at least me. Other people might be able to get in here a bit more, but thank you very much, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night.